A few minutes ago, Russian troops achieved a real breakthrough in the Kupyansk direction of the front. In particular, war correspondents confirmed that on October 21, at 9 a.m. Moscow time, the Russian army took under fire control the entire territory of the Kupyansk district along the Oskol River. Thus, the Russian troops physically divided the Ukrainian army's bridgehead into two parts, the southern and the northern. According to war correspondents, after the Russian army reached the Oskol River, it also entered the settlement of Kursk on the move. It is reported that after a short battle, the Russian army managed to capture 70% of the territory of this village. At the moment, the Ukrainian army units are suffering heavy losses in manpower and equipment in the Kupyansk direction of the front. In this regard, in the last 24 hours alone, the Ukrainian troops had to retreat from almost all advantageous positions in the Kupyansk direction of the front. Commenting on the successes of Russian troops in the Kupyansk direction of the front, military experts from numerous Western analytical centers noted that this became possible due to the fact that the Ukrainian army lost almost all of its logistical routes in this sector of the front. As a result, the Ukrainian High Military Command has lost the opportunity to regularly supply its troops with everything necessary. Against this backdrop, the demoralized state of Ukrainian soldiers has sharply increased, which has weakened their ability to build effective defenses along the combat contact line. My friends, let me remind you that Russian troops intensified their offensive actions in the Kupyansk direction of the front at the end of August this year. And a month later, all supply routes of the Ukrainian army in the Kursk area came under the fire control of Russian troops. For 30 days, the Ukrainian army tried desperately to fix the situation. However, despite numerous attempts to counterattack the positions of Russian troops, the Ukrainian army has not been able to succeed. In addition, Russian troops are also rapidly advancing northeast of Kupyansk, in the Sinkovka area. Against this backdrop, the Ukrainian authorities began the forced evacuation of residents from Kupyansk and nearby villages. At the moment, Russian troops are only 5 kilometers from the city of Kupyansk. Meanwhile, in the Kursk direction of the front, the situation of the Ukrainian army has further worsened over the past 24 hours. So, a few hours ago, war correspondents from both sides confirmed that the settlements of Bondarenko, Dmitriukov, and Kalmykov, in the Sudzansky district of the Kursk region, came under the full control of Russian troops. In addition, the fighters of Spetsnaz Akhmat, together with Russian Marines, also managed to take full control of the airfield of the city of Sudza. In general, everything that is happening in the Sudzansky district of the Kursk region indicates that Russian troops are preparing a springboard for the beginning of the liberation of the city of Sudza. As of October 22, 2024, Russian troops approached the city of Sudza at a distance of 2 kilometers. Against this backdrop, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Alexander Syrsky, urgently arrived in the Sumy region to hold an emergency meeting with the brigade commanders, whose units are fighting in the Kursk region. The fact that the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine arrived in the Sumy region against the backdrop of the storming by Russian troops of the city of Seledovo indicates that the head of the Kiev regime, Vladimir Zelensky, chastised General Syrsky for the loss of Ukrainian army's positions in the Glushkovsky and Koronevsky districts of the Kursk region. Now, General Syrsky is doing everything possible to prevent the defeat of the Ukrainian army in the Sudzansky district of the Kursk region. The fact that the Ukrainian army is rapidly retreating in the Kursk region was also recognized by American military experts from the Institute for the Study of War. According to them, after the unit of the 106th Airborne Division of the Russian Armed Forces liberated such settlements as Leonidovo and Lubimovka, in the Koronevsky district of the Kursk region, Russian troops significantly intensified offensive operations in the Sudzansky district of this Russian region. In particular, American military experts admitted that over the past 24 hours, Russian troops have managed to capture 70% of the territory of the village of Martinovka, northeast of Sudza, and also partially surround the settlement of Plekovo. They also expressed confidence that the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Sersky, arrived in the Sumy region in order to eliminate all holes in the combat contact line and try to stabilize the situation of the Ukrainian army in the Kursk region. However, even Ukrainian military experts admit that the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine will not succeed, not least because there are no necessary conditions for establishing effective lines of defense in the Kursk region. Against this backdrop, many experts are confident that the Kursk region will turn into a large cauldron for the Ukrainian army, as it was in Mariupol and Soledar. Surprisingly, this fact is also recognized by Western military analysts, who have never hidden their pro-Ukrainian views. According to them, the situation of the Ukrainian army is critical in the Kursk region, and that the complete defeat of the Ukrainian troops is just around the corner. Meanwhile, Russian Marines showed video footage of the destruction of the armored fighting vehicle Stryker, along with 8 U.S. Army Rangers. Let me remind you that a few days ago, Russian Marines ambushed and destroyed a military column of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the Koronevsky district of the Kursk region. It is noteworthy that in this military column, there was the armored fighting vehicle Stryker, which was also destroyed. Later, Russian Marines found half-burnt bodies of 8 U.S. Army Rangers in this armored fighting vehicle. Documents confirming their identity were also found in this combat vehicle. Thus, the Russian Marines have once again proved that not just ordinary mercenaries are fighting in the ranks of the Ukrainian army, but the most real active duty soldiers and officers of armies of NATO countries.